Well, this is it, folks. Can you believe it? Block number 12, or maybe I should say month number 12. We're going to talk about all of the assembly and quilting on the Patch Party by Leila Gardunia. Let's get started. Oh, this is right. It is super exciting. Welcome to month number 12. We have been partying like only patchwork stars know how to do, having a blast. Welcome back, or welcome for their first time to Making It Fun. I am your host, Rob Appell from Michael Miller Fabrics. And yes, we have been doing a 12-month series on this wonderful pattern called the Patch Party by Leila Gardunia. Leila, thank you again for allowing me to do these wonderful video installments to go with your awesome purchase pattern. So yeah, you need to purchase the pattern, and even if you don't like doing block of the month, it's all sold as an entire pattern set. So you get all 12 months worth of information that you need. I've just been breaking it down one month after the other for the last 12 months, having a great time seeing all of you out there joining along. So there are links in the description if you still want to go ahead and get our fabulous cotton couture or our fairy frost, which were the fabrics that we used throughout the construction of the project. You're awesome, easily found at most of your local quilt shops. Just call and ask for some fabulous Michael Miller basics there. Like I said, the pattern is available and it did come complete, so you could do it at any time if you want to jump in. I'm going to do a quick run through now on basically the construction or the layout. I'm going to say the layout. It's going to be too big for me to try to sew here on camera, but I'm going to talk you through some really easy strategies to putting together your blocks, keeping them in order, keeping the color orientation correct, because as I was saying last month, let's look at our wonderful finished quilt here. This center block here, and actually the rest of the quilt also, is a color wheel. So it's really cool the way that she's used these awesome triangles. These were leftover scraps from the other blocks that we did, but they are in color order around the center star. And if you're wondering last month, month number 11, did I get the center star right? I accidentally came off the machine and transposed the oranges and reds for the blues and greens, and I realized that later as I was getting ready to do today's video. And so I took the time, I got out my old friend Grimm, the seam ripper, and went ahead and did those repairs so that I do definitely have the color wheel represented. And so now I can walk you through what we see over here on the design wall. So talking about that, talking about the pattern, inside of your pattern, you not only had the cover shot, but you also had this really cool shot here, which is the diagram or the breakdown. And it really shows where the seams are on all of these, with the exception of these two panels here that you see coming into the center. That information is right here in this top portion of the construction. This is for month number 12, talking about the actual construction of the layout of all the blocks. You see those pieces again right here, and they are wide strips used from your background fabric. So you can see tucked over here in the corner, and also definitely right here, I have stitched on one of those long, tall strips to make the center fill in with this really cool negative space, right? And then if you look at the project, it really does just divide into half where the colors are represented on both sides. So you see this green star here, its diagonal opposite is going to be right here as well. So we can really just use our design wall and talk about what happens next as we go through. And I've kind of put the blocks in order. They're not in order of what month we did them. They're in the order of which the colors translate. So if you follow me to the design wall, on the bottom corner where our skinny white or our skinny background strip started is this block right here. This block right here was our pinwheel, our block number 4. Okay, so I'll just give you a moment. This is what it looks like, and because the corners are symmetrical and our pinwheel is symmetrical, you can't really put this one in incorrectly. So your block number 4 starts down here on the bottom corner, and what you're really going to do is you're going to adhere block number 4 and block number 2 on this side, and then on the opposite side, again, you can follow this diagram also. They're just on opposites. So where 4 is down below, 4 will be up above on the other side. But again, we're just going to look at this in kind of quadrants today. So at any rate, I'm going to go ahead and pull down here now block number 2 so you can see the snowflake, the way it looks. And again, it is a symmetrical block. It has the same cornerstone units. It has the same flying geese units all the way around. So you're just going to go ahead and set it in. And just as a reminder, on the other side, it'll sit below your block number 4. Okay? Moving on, now for block number 9, the star chain, for these blocks we actually created 4 of them, where most of the other ones we created 2. So with these 4, I've actually used 2 of them. So here is block number 9, and then on the opposite side of the corner here is also block number 9. So you see them in both locations here. The other 2 will be in the bottom corner, right? So we're starting to make sense, diagonal opposites. So that was our block number 9. And again, if you're just following along or you're just a little confused, I like to look at this where it shows the blocks all open individually, and then you're just seeing them again down here as they're been sewn together. And these little arrows represent which way you want to press on those blocks. Okay, so then now what you see right here, so on the top corner of our center, right, the top corner there is, like you know, my favorite color green, block number 10. Okay, so block number 10 is a pinwheel, quarter square, but again, it has symmetrical units all the way around. The whites point out as they go. So you're gonna have a white pointing down. It's just gonna happen that way at your white strip, or I should say your background strip. And it also comes over here and fills in this background color as well, which we're gonna get to in a moment, but I was just kind of building out. So let's talk about what's up in that top upper corner, right? So with that, we have block 6, the caged birds. I think I was calling them the free birds when I was doing that video back in the summer. So this one here is all the way up here in the top corner, right? So that's over there, and that is again framed in by 2 of those block number 10. So there's your caged birds up there. And then I don't believe you can see it, but in the bottom corner, you can see those are the block 10s there, and then it's also down there on the opposite edge, okay? This was a really fun and easy block. It was half the construction of most of the other ones. Now this one here was our block number 8, the flying patches. And this one here we do want to pay attention to because it is not symmetrical. I want you to really pay attention. But if you're thinking it through, we're building up this negative space or this extra background space to really highlight the center block. Okay, so with that being said, when you place this in, just make sure that you have a strip here. That is the other half of that block number 8 it was, okay? And so that frames in the star just like our center panels helped frame in the star. So you want to pay attention when you're putting in block number 8. This one's going to point down, the other one will point up, framing in the center star with extra background fabric. Block number 7, this one certainly is bright and cheery, isn't it? This wonderful star. Now that is going to go right up here in the top center here. You can't see it, it's out of frame there, but it's directly below in this. So it's a terrible example on the back wall. You can't see it at all, but you can see it up here, the bright yellow star. And again, you'll have 2 of those blocks and you'll use them directly dead center, right over the center, big navy center there that we've got going for us, okay? Now, I couldn't complete because I have threads and a guitar on the wall and didn't have quite enough design space on the wall for us all. But I want to point out that block number 3, way back when from March, right, is the churn dash block. And we actually created 4 of these. Okay, so I have 3 of these right here. 1, 2, 3 still on the table because like these blue stars, they're going to frame in the other side here. So again, I kind of ran out of space. So now I'm just going to really use the diagram to show. So here's block 3. Here's block 3 right here. Okay. So block 5, you do see block 5 is right here on the design wall. And again, it's all symmetrical. So no matter how you place it, the corners are going to lay in just right. So this is what block 5 looks like here, okay? But what you're not seeing on my design wall, simply due to space and management, is block number 1. Block number 1 is going to go up in the top corner. It's going to be, again, framed in by the, what was our block number? I've got so many going on, I don't remember. Block number 3, like I said, the one that the churn dash, where we had 4 of them, okay? And this one, again, is a non-symmetrical block in the fact that these pink edges are kind of running as you see. So these are going to fit in as you see in the diagram. So they're going to run kind of off of the corners, or they'll sit in there like this. okay? And you'll find that all of these, excuse me, let me turn it so that I've got it just right. You'll find that these pink parts run, as you see here in the diagram, those pink parts are going to run all the way through the quilt, and you'll match up to them at the bottom corner as well. As a reminder, just doing the diagonal opposites. So, as I was starting to say a little while ago, we want to build our project into units now that are much easier to handle at the sewing machine. So, as the instructions call for, we're going to sew together these two blocks first. Okay, that's going to make a nice rectangle. Same with on the other side, and that'll actually stitch to our center and complete all of the center. From that point on, we're just going to sew block after block after block, and then the other block that would be right here. So you have 5 blocks to sew, that will become a row. 5 more blocks up there to sew, that will become a row. Okay, so once those rows are connected, then you can go ahead and sew them to your final center row, just making sure that you have every piece complete and checking those orientations as you go for a few of the non-symmetrical blocks that will help frame in that center square or center star, however you see it. Now, one of the things I love about this project, other than the fact that the colors are great and the instructions were very, very fun and easy to follow, super basic quilting. I think sometimes, and I know I'm super guilty of this myself, I over quilt things, or I just can't stop quilting, so I just keep going and going. And or I like to do like a graffiti style quilting or freestyle quilting, free motion, and it really is kind of like doodling. So there's not a lot of organization or sense to it. And I don't think that style of quilting would work as well on this project. So for you brand new quilters that have taken on this project because you wanted to learn a lot about quilting, and I'm sure you really did because we learned a lot of different techniques in these blocks, let me point out the way that Leila quilted this, and it's just very basic, or what looks to be basic straight lines. Now, anytime you're doing a quilt in straight lines, you could even use a walking foot and your feed dogs to help everything run through together. Your backing, your batting, your quilt top. But you can almost tell that there was like a center line, maybe drawn, maybe taped off, that runs all the way through on the diagonal. Okay, from that point on, she came up, met to it, and then came back down because she was moving the quilt both up and then away from her body at the machine, and that way that helps shift the batting and keep everything moving flat. What you don't want to do is quilt everything into one direction, because that can cause big lumps at the end in your backing and or especially your batting. Think of like a pebble being dropped into a pool or a bucket, and those rings, that's your stitching, moving outward will push the batting and the backing. That's why we always say to have extra batting and extra backing larger than your quilt top, because the quilt top's going to grow and settle down, and it's going to push everything out as you go. So this real simple straight line quilting, and was probably using the actual outside edge of the presser foot just to follow the original line that was put in, is very attractive and very effective in this project. And so I just wanted to say hats off to Leila. I shouldn't embarrass her, but she told me she was a little concerned to do the machine quilting on such a large quilt, and I think she's done an absolutely fabulous job, not only in the way it was done, but the ideas she had in doing it. A couple of other quick suggestions for more of the advanced quilters out there. Of course, you've already thought this through. You've got a lot of negative space, right? Especially around the star center. So this would actually be a good place to put in some vine work or some feathers or leaves, something fun and organic, kind of round to soften off the outside center. And then what you really could use is any motif and just repeat it. So maybe I'm going to do like a pebbles motif here, and then I'm going to do it again on the opposite side. Maybe I'll even do it on each of the corners to kind of play with the quilting that was already laid down. I would still do some fun straight line quilting, block style quilting, echo quilting within here, and maybe I could do some scroll work in each of the colors, but then I would be tempted to change my thread. And you know me, I'm always trying to go with an easy out. So this has the same color. It's a neutral, light gray, kind of an off-white thread that just runs through here beautifully. And like I said, you can see the stitching from across the room, which is something that you really want in your quilting, but it's not distracting from the actual project. It's not distracting from all of the patchwork work that you've actually done in the project. So I hope that does help a little bit. I'm not exactly sure how I'll finish quilting mine. First, I've got to get these blocks assembled and off of the wall. So with that all said, I'm going to wrap it up. We all did it, folks. Hats off. Congratulations to everyone out there that has completed their patch party, their block of the month. Thanks again if you did it month by month with me. If you raced ahead, hey, I would have too if I wasn't on a schedule, because you know how caffeinated I'm often am. Again, a big thanks to Leila for creating a great pattern and sharing it with all of us out there, allowing me to do the videos. Please remember to support your local quilt shops and your local artists by taking classes at those quilt shops, by supporting folks like Leila and purchasing the patterns, by visiting those local quilt shops and picking up a little bit of Michael Miller while you're in there. Tell them that Mike says hello. Tell them that Rob says hello. Did I get that backwards? Maybe, maybe not. At any rate, folks, thanks again for being here. We will be doing another block of the month starting just next month in January 2022. That's all I'm going to say right now, other than we'll see you next time at Making It Fun. Wow, you are still there. Thanks for sticking with me till the end of the video. I know, I get a little long-winded sometimes. But if you did enjoy today's video, make sure you check out a few of the other ones we've created. I think they're terrific. And of course, please subscribe to the channel. Make sure you hit the little bell to be notified. I don't want you to miss a moment of the fun. Stay safe and happy sewing.